never lost too long. Something come between us that we must have to part. I can find this life alone. I gotta find someone to love. La 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 la.
Crystal, is the pink one like 45 minutes? What do you think? Depends on the party.
Like 45 minutes.
Okay, so we have people joining just now. We're doing a little survey. Maybe I'll give you like 30 seconds to weigh in here. And we're going to come back to this as people join. And Crystal, you have the erase button handy?
I do.
Okay. So it looks like we're looking an hour or less that people want to spend at a child's birthday party. Generally. Okay. So let's say hello. My name's Steve Lambert, and this is Crystal Barrett.
I'm Crystal Barrett. Nice to see you all. Welcome to the Action Energizer Lab from the Center for Artistic Activism. Just to start, today we do have an ASL interpreter, Alyssa, and any text on the slides will be read aloud as we're presenting. If you have any questions throughout, some of our colleagues are here and we'll do some more formal introductions later, but some of our colleagues, Blythe and Rebecca, are here, so feel free to reach out to them with questions. And we'd like to thank our partner, Arena, for helping promote this Action Energizer Lab.
Yeah, maybe you found out it from them. We're also going to use the Q&A thing as well as the chat. So if you have a question, it might be helpful to put it in the Q&A. Okay.
So I want you to imagine something for me. You're in the desert, you've run out of water, and it's been quite a while. You're feeling weak, you don't know exactly where you are, but I show up and I tell you, what you're experiencing is dehydration, a disruption of metabolic processes, exercise disease, or high environmental temperature. Most people can tolerate a 3 to 4 decrease in total body water without difficulty or adverse health effects. A 5 to 8% decrease can cause fatigue and dizziness. Loss of over 10% of total body water can cause physical and mental deterioration, accompanied by severe
Okay. Now, if you're really imagining this, I just want you, maybe you can use the thumbs up or thumbs down, but like, how do you feel about Crystal right now? We all know in real life she's a great person, but in this scenario, how do you feel about Crystal?
You can tell the truth. It's okay.
I'm already dead, says Laura. That's good. Yeah. So the reason, well, raising awareness in this situation is not enough, right? We need to solve the problem. We need to get you rescued. We need to get you water.
Yeah, and this is one of the concepts we're going to share with you today, which gets us to why we're here. There are small and large protests happening across the country lately. It's key that we harness this energy and make as much progress as possible. And so we're here to help with that and make it as simple and as straightforward as we can. Going beyond raising awareness is one way. We're going to show you a lot more. And of course, we can't fit everything into tonight, but we put together some of the best and most memorable we could give you within an hour. And so today, this is what we're going to do. We're going to cover these 9 tips in 3 areas. We really believe if you consider these ideas, you're going to get better results. And now we're going to focus on events today. So that could be like a protest or even a dinner party, but events is what we're going to focus on.
Yeah, and one thing we want you to remember is that you may not need to do an event at all. Once you know what you want to get done, you could discover other strategies that work better. And once you allow yourself like creativity and coming up with solutions, then all kinds of opportunities can open up. But that's a different workshop than we're doing today. And today we're really trying to focus on events.
Yep. And so if you're working on an event or you're asked to participate, let's learn some ways to make it great.
So during this section, we're going to ask you to help a few ways. One is if you can turn your camera on, that's great. We love to see faces. Use the chat, use the emojis, use reactions. That helps, gives us some feedback. If you want to just share your favorite emoji right now, that's great. Or just pick the weirdest one. Or can I do this? Oh, I'm trying to do it now. Here, let's do this. Oh, it's happening, right? Yeah. Yeah, Crystal's on fire. Great. Jessica, I see your alien face. Thank you. Yeah, so go nuts on that stuff. We love it. And we want your questions. We mentioned that before. If you have questions in the Q&A, and we've got some folks that are helping us out answer those. The other thing is just be ready to discuss and share. We're going to ask for your ideas. We've got a lot of folks here, so keep your typing fingers loose and on the keyboard. It'll be helpful for us to get those answers quickly. And we'll start here, which I think maybe we've done already. Some folks are telling us where they are. And what is this your first event with us? Is this your 10th event? That's the thing I want to know. Laura, I see it's your first one. First.
We got a
Butterfly,
second.
Oh, cool. Okay, we got a lot of new folks. All right.
Yeah, this is a great welcome, everyone. Thanks for being here. And I will be honest and say I'm going to go through this chat later. I obviously can't read it all now, but I'm so excited to read it later. But while you're sharing some more about if this is your first event or it's your 20th event with us, we just wanted to give you a little peek at the important issues y'all are working on and planning to apply what you learned tonight to. This is an absolutely amazing range of focuses. I'm going to put them in the chat here too, if you'd like to read them all. But we have gun violence prevention, reproductive rights, deaf refugee advocacy, voting rights, organizing in higher education, science policies and organizations, narrative change, public health advocacy, and so many more. So I am so thankful for the work you all are doing and honored to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, so hello, everybody. Hello to all the folks that are joining us for the first time. We are the Center for Artistic Activism. We're a nonprofit organization that started in 2009, so about 16 years ago. And we help activists and artists launch winning campaigns by like supercharging the innovation and creativity and rigor in their work. And we do this through training, through consulting with them, and creating and sharing resources, kind of like we're doing right now. This is a quick video about what we do. Yeah, and beyond the organization, I'm Steve Lambert. Did I say I'm the co-founder and artistic director of the Center for Artistic Activism? I don't think I did. I am. And this is Crystal.
I'm Crystal Barrett. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the programs manager at the Center for Artistic Activism. And as you can see, Steve and I are really fun people.
And we've also got some behind the scenes folks that are now not going to be behind the scenes. Rebecca, can you say hello?
Hi, I'm Rebecca Brand, the executive director of the center. I'm so glad to see many familiar friends out there and so many new people. And Blythe.
Blythe.
Blythe is here.
Hi. Hi, I'm Blythe. I'm the communications manager here at the center, and I'm really excited to be part of this public event. I'm so happy to see the chat be so active, and this admitting people into the room is going very quickly. It's great.
Yeah, and before we jump into more, I saw a question about can
Oh,
we have the interpreter pinned? So Blythe or Rebecca, could you take care of that, please? Thanks.
So first off, we're not going to fix everything today. I wish it was as easy as telling you, okay, if you do this and that every time, it's going to work. Here's the recipe, just follow the recipe. We're not going to do that, and it wouldn't work if we did. The landscape shifts really fast, and you're going to be the ones that think through how to change with it, right? So if we gave you even some great advice today, it might not apply a week from now. It might not apply 3 months from now. And also it might not apply to where you are, right? It might work for me where I am, but not where you are. So rather than do that, what we're going to do is give you a few prompts and ways to think about how you can make something that's like really innovative and inviting and effective. And the reason for that, the reason it has to be done fresh every time, is that these two things change in relationship to each other. The more you repeat old tactics and strategies, the less effective they become. And the other side sort of learns your tired dance moves and then will dance circles around you. So we need to come up with new dance moves, and you're going to be the ones that come up with these dance moves. So let's get into the first set, and we're going to have you imagine sort of another scenario.
Yes, something else we want you to imagine, and we're going to ask you to type some things in the chat, so get those hands on your keyboards. This one, I want you to imagine you've been wrongly detained while on a relaxing vacation in a foreign country. You're able to let someone back home know about this injustice. So my question is, what do you want people to think? What are the facts that they need to know about you being wrongly detained while on your relaxing vacation?
So yeah, just type that in and we'll take a look. I'm in trouble, like
The
your
location.
location. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Details. I need help, safety, why.
Why it happened.
Mm-hmm.
How, where, why.
Okay. That it's wrong, urgency.
The embassy contact. Good. General logistics. I want them to think they might be next. Ooh, you get your great transition. What it'll take to get me to released. Who can I talk to? Tell the media.
This could happen to you. Great.
All
So
right.
keep those going. But what would you want them to feel? I think we were getting a little bit of that. Someone said urgency. What else would you want them to feel?
Also, I think that this could happen to you
Mhm.
is that too, right? So we've got
Outrage.
concerned.
Mhm.
Shonda says sympathy. Yeah.
Activated. I love that.
Shocked and outraged. There's a lot of outrage, upset,
Mhm.
injustice, motivated, invested, and committed. I like that, Michelle.
Mhm.
Feel
Empathetic.
motivated from Adriana. Care. Feel sorry for
Maybe a
me.
little
Powerful, says Jenny. Like
little
that.
fear, someone said.
Amy's got
Awaken.
angry.
Yeah.
Great.
And so what would you want them to do? You get to think what they need to know, how they feel. Okay, Catherine says, get me out. Help, call senator, get me out, take action to help, organize, think and act.
Push forward, speak for me, take action, call the local embassy. I like that one. That's really practical, Sean. Maybe donate money. Getting the media involved, get embassy involved, get other people involved and invested, pressure those with influence to do something, call the right people. You guys are going to be the ones that I call. This is good. Avenge me, says Ari. Great. Call Congress, all the nonprofits that are working to protect democracy, contact help. Great. Cool. So again, if we just raise awareness, like, oh, I'm detained, that's not going to get you home, right? We need to solve the problem. And so this think, feel, do is a really helpful structure to kind of break that down. So when we talk about think, we those are the facts that we need to know, and that's the raising awareness part, right? And there's always like a lot of facts. We can't share all the facts. The truth is not gonna itself set us free. Raising awareness isn't enough. And so good activism has this call to action, right? It's like, what do you want me to do? And it should be a meaningful one, right? That makes a difference, that creates pressure or moves an issue forward. But the magic part of our artistic activism is that there's a link between the think and the do, and that's activating people's emotions. That's the driving force. And it's something that's too often overlooked when it's really one of the most important pieces, right? Like you guys mentioned, it's the motivation for people to take the action. It's why they feel like they care. It's some of you like said things like empowered and powerful, right? It's like that's the thing that makes them feel like they can do it. So these things are key.
Yeah, and so for the rest of your life, you're going to hear this term raise awareness. And whenever you do, I want a little flag to go up. It should be red, a little red flag. Because I want you to stop the conversation and then ask, what does it look like once people are aware? And what happens next? So you can kind of pretend everyone's aware, but then what happens? Where's that, that feel and that do?
Yeah. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into this think, feel, do thing, because there's some ideas and some shortcuts that are going to make it easier and make it more useful. One thing to keep in mind is that issues themselves can stir up a lot of people's emotions, and people need a place to put those emotions. So without a behavior, there's no place to put the emotions. And that's what leads to apathy, right? So we can be really outraged or really angry, but if there's nothing for us to do, eventually that sort of dissipates and it's like, oh man, the world's messed up. And that's what leads to apathy and hopelessness. So the behavior is really important because we're also like not trying to just make an event that people come to. We want to make a movement, and to make the movement, we need people to be active and motivated.
And so our first shortcut for think, feel, do is to work backward from the behavior. You can start at the end, like start at the outcome and ask, what do we want people to do? Behaviors are physical and visible. And raising awareness may lead to a behavior, but it's not behavior. And to kind of overstate this, we want behavior. So it might be like making a phone call or meeting with someone, showing up at the next event, organizing a prison break to get you back from your vacation destination, vote in the next election, ask for a warrant. So start a behavior so you can work backwards from there.
Then the other thing is going to like what feeling is going to motivate them to do that behavior, or what do they need to feel to do that? There's a lot of feelings that you can access. There's a really wide range of them. This is something called a feelings wheel, and it zooms out, you know, from happy and angry to these more nuanced ones. You can find this emotion wheel and ones like it online. And it's just a reminder of all the different emotions we could tap and the different strategies that can emerge from them. So the negative ones are really easy to be drawn to, and we often are, like the dark side is strong. And anger is often where we start, right? Outrage, anger, you all mentioned those. And anger can get you going. It gives you a lot of energy, but it burns really hot and it's not sustaining. So you got to think about where you want to move people to. It's also, as our board member, Margaret McCarthy, pointed out, like angry people aren't attractive. They're not a good hang. And so, yeah, you can be angry to start with, but again, we want to build a movement, right? And so we need to direct that somewhere. The other thing is anger changes how you view and pursue everything. It changes all the steps that follow. I didn't make this up, this guy did. If once you start down the dark path forever, it will dominate your destiny. So when you move with negative emotions, it dictates a lot of the decisions you'll make around the road. Not to say they're not powerful, not to say they're not useful, but these positive ones are just as powerful and deserve more consideration. So, Crystal.
Yeah, so emotions like awe, energetic, amazed, confident, valued, courageous, hopeful, powerful, inspired, free, successful. Those are the positive ones that are just as powerful. And if you want to get advanced, you can even think about emotional journeys you want to guide people through. So, what would it look like if you started with anger, moved people to astonished, and then excited, and then courageous, for example? Like, how beautiful would that be? And so another shortcut we have for Think, Feel, Do is what thoughts lead to feeling and doing. So again, what do people need to know? What's the minimum information you can give them? Too often we think information is what will motivate people. So we overwhelm them with more information, kind of like Dr. Bronner's does with me. I don't know if you also use their body wash. I love Dr. Bronner's, but the bottle is very overwhelming. And we kind of overwhelm them with more information as if that's what will take for them to suddenly awaken and jump into action. But more isn't necessarily better. It can be super unnecessary and leave them overwhelmed and without direction.
So that's our first little section, right?
Yeah, and so we'd love to know in the chat if you can share what was a key takeaway from this section. And we have like about 30 seconds of some thinking music we found on the YouTube to help. So let's hear your takeaways in the chat. Steve will play that music for us.
I think I will.
You don't have to wait for the music.
Yeah, you're gonna have to imagine
Yeah.
thinking music. It's not there.
Oh, I love one of the takeaways. I think it's Benja. Hope is hot. I love that.
What if they say it in one of the Star Wars movies? Not Yoda. Says hope is what revolutions are built on.
Positive emotions foster resilience. I'm just gonna be your 30 seconds of thinking music right now. Red flag equals raising awareness.
Right.
Behaviors are physical and visible. Julie says kiss, keep it simple.
All right, keep typing those in. And then we're going to talk about how we bring height, width, and depth to our events.
Yeah, and we're gonna start with height.
So this is what normally happens with like tabling. I see this a lot where people put this important message on the front of their table. They go set up, they want to gather signatures or just engage people about an issue. And then as soon as the first person that walks up to your table, they block the message. And if you're lucky and a crowd forms, no one can see it anymore. So height is a solution. This is a project that we did, the Center for Artistic Activism did with sex workers in South Africa, and in 2015, and we called this like our kissing booth model, and it was like, it's really inviting. It tells people what's going on. You can have a crowd in front of it, still works. We made another set of these for safe consumption sites for injection drug users in Seattle. And so there's the height that works with it. It also gets people's attention much more than a regular table. And it makes it really clear what's happening and inviting for someone to come and engage. Like these ask me, I'm an epidemiologist, like I can tell you about this.
And for height, it helps you, like Steve was saying, get seen, it grabs attention, it changes the space and makes it special and unusual. And in this case, height, like for height, simple works. You can use balloons, poles, stilts, ladders. It doesn't have to be something super complex. You can use crates. You can even like use someone's shoulders who can help you above the crowd. And so another thing we'd like to ask is in the chat, tell us what ideas do you have to add height? And as you do that, we're just going to show you a couple examples just for fun.
Yeah, and again, this is a super simple, but a ladder, yeah. Actually, if you've ever seen the Spike Lee's Malcolm X movie, all the Malcolm X in the beginning of the movie, they climb up on ladders and give speeches.
Margaret says a trampoline. I think this is the second time I've heard Margaret talk about a trampoline. I really like this. I'd like to see it at an upcoming event, Margaret. A flag, large puppets, tall people, great. I'm not one of those people.
So do you want to explain this?
Yes, sorry, I got distracted by your amazing answers, but one of our longtime partners, Fair Count, who's in Georgia, used a 52-foot whale kite during the 2022 midterms. Shout out to Aileen Loy, who is on this call right now. This was Aileen's amazing, beautiful idea. This was a life-size whale in the sky.
Now, a couple people said hot air balloons, and you're probably thinking, yeah, that's a kind of wild idea. Our friends at Greenpeace actually commissioned this airship, and it looks like a blimp. It's actually, it's called an airship. It is like a hot air balloon, and then you can see the drivers down there, but it was a way to get to more landlocked places that their sea ships couldn't reach. So these are, some really simple ways of thinking about height. Next, we'll get into width.
Yeah, so for width, one of our examples is these are images from a project we supported through our Unstoppable Voters program. We were partnering with these organizations in Pennsylvania, Just Act and PA Youth Vote. They put on this interactive performance called How's Your Voice Gonna Matter If You Don't Vote? And it was created and performed by teens in Philly to get the Philadelphia School Board to pass a resolution that would help students get registered to vote and to get the education they needed to know that their vote mattered. And so you can notice they're taking up some space. They have this rug that kind of creates a stage. It's blue. It's kind of like standing out. And then in this next image, you can see their fun signs, but they also have a flag. In this particular picture, you just don't see it waving, but there are flags, there's cones. And imagine if it was just a few students with a couple cardboard signs. Not totally the same. They performed this many times in many different locations. And in this photo, they're performing it in front of the Philadelphia School Board building right before a hearing on the resolution. And in the back, you can see a few people standing outside. Those are members of the Philadelphia Board of Education who are watching them. And after seeing this performance, the board members went back to work and, as our partner said, got busy And 6 months later, the resolution passed. And this was something the students had been doing for about like 2 years, these performances, to really like make this difference. And I will say though, it started with some of those traditional, more like, okay, we're gonna have a protest, but then they ended up creating this really beautiful height with depth kind of performance. And we've seen some of these concepts of height, width, and depth at like some of the recent marches. This is the No Kings March in LA a couple weeks ago. You can see all of these signs here, but which one are you paying attention to the most? I think maybe the We the People, the really long one there.
Yeah. Yeah, so both of these examples too, they have the height, they width, but they also are starting to get into depth. And depth has two meanings, both physical depth, but also kind of like an emotional depth or an experience. And I'm going to talk about both. This is a artwork that I made in 2012 or something. And it's this giant sign that says capitalism works for me, and it's got a scoreboard in it, and then people can come and vote whether or not capitalism is working in their life. True and false. It's very simple behavior I'm asking them to do. And this is it in context in Times Square. So someone comes up, they press the button. This is where the blue rug thing came from. I've shown this in cities in the United States, in Europe, Australia, and it's got to work within the context of these big public spaces. So I learned a lot about engaging people in these really high stakes, highly populated, busy areas, and I'm going to share some of that with you. So first, it's a big, busy public space, and you got to kind of hold your own in that space. So in this case, the height is tall enough, right? It stands out. It's above the kind of above everyone's heads. The width is big enough where it's not lost, but ultimately, like I'm trying to get someone like this person to go move forward and get to the podium. So this is a picture from above to give you a sense of the space. And one of the things when I started to work with the folks at Times Square, they're like, oh, you need to get a floor covering. And I thought they were crazy at first. And then they're like, no, it delineates the space, right? So it creates this visual boundary. It suggests a stage, shows that it's special and intentional. And it's a thing. If you look at any installation in Times Square, now that I know to look for it, it's always there. But this is like these are the things that you want to have happen. It's like have people feel like this is special and intentional. But there was a larger space that we were working with, larger than that footprint of the rug. And the depth also includes the audience, right? So people at different points are engaging differently. If you look really closely, back here, there's someone taking a picture. And that's great. You know, like people taking pictures of it is good. But it's pretty minor engagement and it's passive. And so what I want to do is move those people closer and get them to engage. So one of the ways that we did that is we'd work with a big team. This is the one in Melbourne, Australia. And, you know, we have everyone wearing the same shirt and they would go and talk to people. Now, this is another thing to know, and I have to train folks on this, is that at that outside edge where that person is, they don't want to engage. If you go up to them and say, hey, do you want to go press the button? Or, you know, do you want to vote on capitalism? Like every time the answer is no. They would be doing it if they wanted to. What they're doing at that outside edge is just trying to figure out what's going on. And so we would engage them at that level. We did it with two ways. One is we would walk up to people and just explain what was happening, right? And describe it. So it's like, hey, that's a sign and it says this, and there's a scoreboard in it. And when that person pressed the button, the number changes. And every time you do that, people are like, oh, wow, thanks, you know? Because that's what they're wondering about. For the folks who are like maybe less social, we'd have these A-frame signs that explained it a little bit. And then eventually you kind of be like, well, you know, you could press the button too. And they're like, oh, really? And you start moving them closer. Another way that we would think about, you know, depth and time and stuff is like how quickly we wanted to move forward. We didn't want them just to come up and press the button and walk away. And so we created lines, we created ways of slowing people down. And within those lines, they would have these more in-depth conversations. There were surprise people that would engage them. Some were like volunteers from United Fair Economy that were like very knowledgeable. We had this a reverend from Judson Church. We had actual billionaires that would talk to them. And part of that was to keep people guessing about what was going on. and keep it surprising. So I really like this definition of interactive that I found. It's like you got one side and they listen, and then they think and they respond, and then the other side, and they listen to what that person said, has responded to, they think about it, and then they create a response. This seems super simple, but if you take out one of the elements, it doesn't work. Everything breaks down, right? And what happens too often when you're engaging people in the public is not really listening to what they're saying or not really thinking about what they're saying. You have a set response that you want to get to. And so, so that's another thing to think about. It's like, how do we make this engagement really meaningful? This is more of the team here and how it worked. We tried to keep it meaningful by listening, but we also kept it really unexpected and would basically play jokes on people and tease them just so they were like a little off balance, and it kept them thinking. I can explain that more later if you want, but then after behind it, they could do a longer engagement and give video and do an interview. So this is a way of planning for engaging actions.
Yeah, so find a spectacular way to take up space, height, width, and depth. And I've seen a couple things about, what about our budget, things like that. Totally understand and honor that. And so this is where you want to maybe get a little scrappy if you can and think about things like the balloons, the ladders, crates, boxes, cardboard. There you can do so much with cardboard. Like the students made a whole mailbox costume out of it. So things like that. Plan for multiple levels of engagement, like Steve was saying, make participation meaningful and responsive. In Steve's example, the capitalism sign, what folks said was heard, and the conversation changed based on it. So it was a very meaningful interaction. And also keep it surprising and real. So again, with the capitalism sign, it was very responsive. They could press the button and see that it was recorded, that they were a part of something. And so next we're going to talk about the last three: start, middle, and end. And so we're going to start with start. And so the key idea here is decide how you start. Don't just let it happen. Most big events get kicked off with some sort of ceremony or ritual. The lights go down, the curtain goes up, maybe the national anthem is played, or someone walks on stage or comes in from the back of the room. Maybe it's a fanfare or a prayer, maybe it's a song, but there's some deliberate demarcation that this is starting now.
Yeah, and there's so many different examples that we could draw from to show you this. Like, it happens at sports events, it happens at weddings, But the one that I want to show you is the haka from New Zealand, and some of you may know this. It was recently in the news too, but just to explain it quickly, it's like a series of movements with shouting and call and response in the native language in New Zealand. And they're making these super intense faces, and it's intended to unify the participants. So the haka is multi-purpose, it's serious and it's sacred, and it's used to kick off big occasions and welcome important people to the area. It can be used as a tribute or an achievement, and it's even used at weddings and funerals. But it may be best known to the world as the way the New Zealand rugby team starts their games. So if you haven't seen it before, they meet the other team on the field and kind of square off, and then they begin this 1-minute ritual dance. And I saw someone said, I cry every time I see the haka. I do too. So we'll see if I can get through this. It's very intense. It can seem sort of intimidating and powerful. This is the women's team. But I went and found not the lyrics, but what the words were translated, and it's actually really poetic. And they're sort of drawing the power out of themselves and expressing this strength and unity and sort of declaring who they are. And it's not just okay, we're going to light a candle to begin. It's giving the participants, and I think the people in the crowd, a sense of purpose and power and resolve. The last line of the women's team one is, "It will be done." And so you can find all different kinds of examples of this. The haka has been used at protests after the Christchurch shooting. schools who lost students in the massacre performed it. I'm going to show you a quick video of this. So recently, the hawk has been used by members of parliament in New Zealand to protest legislation. This is super controversial. You can learn about it. It's really incredible. And there's so many videos you can watch online. I don't know how many, like probably 2 hours of hawks I've watched online at this point, especially in preparation for this. I definitely suggest looking at those videos, but do not do this. The idea is not to do the haka. It's sacred, it's culturally and geographically specific. What I am saying is to learn from it.
Yeah, so again, decide how you start. Don't just let it happen, and you do it in a way that the haka does, that delineates a clear beginning, that unifies people, that brings that sense of power and resolve. You don't want to just meekly say like, okay, everybody, I guess we have enough people here, so let's get started, or don't announce like, okay, hi everybody, we're gonna start. That's my weird voice doing this. But have a clear beginning, you know, start strong.
And so we're going to ask you, how can you add ceremony to the beginning? Some of you already started. Adriana, you said line dance, which I think is that there's a place that's going to work. Call and response. Climate ritual dance. Yeah, we can start working on it. Music at the beginning of Zoom meetings. Yeah, that is one thing that we do, isn't it?
Drumline. Sean says I love starting my, oh, it went away, but starting my events with an invitation to dance, move our bodies. I love that.
Oh, Robert, handbells rung from the corners of the room. I've seen that done. Yeah. A meal. Sure. Yeah. Tuesday said they were at a picket today and everybody line danced. Love it. Moment of silence. Yeah. Great. Great. Collective breath. Great. Okay. A game. Yeah. Now, my favorite one is these like New York breakdancers that will take forever to start their performance. This is a video of them, and I'll share this later, but there's a few things I learned from watching this. One is that they do this stuff to capture the attention of everyone. So part of that is, you know, costumes. They're wearing all the same outfit. You could also do it with props. They're doing it with big movements too, occasionally. You can do it with sound too. So an unexpected loud sound, a fanfare or a siren, or building up sound, or the call and response that we talked about. Yeah, showtime. They're always calling it, it's showtime, it's showtime. The other thing is like, you want to get people interested, right? We don't want to rely on the issue that we are so dedicated to being the thing that's going to interest other people at first. So the way that you capture interest sometimes can be to create a setup without giving the punchline, right? So you want to create a sense of mystery or suspense. Here, again, they have not started dancing, right? Like they're doing all the setup, but waiting to deliver the punchline. You can drape things in veils or cover them to pique curiosity. You can delay the reveal and say at a certain time this thing is going to happen, but not explaining what's going to happen right away. You also want to provide purpose. So purpose can deepen engagement, and it provides cohesion and meaning, and it also can help turn passive spectators into like active participants, right? Because it means something to them. So you want to connect that gathering to a larger cause and show how it's going to make a difference. So it's like, what are we doing this for? Now, in the breakdancing example, they're like, who wants to have a good time? Who's here to have a good time, right? That is one way of doing it. We have ways of doing it that are like much deeper, right? But we want to connect what's happening now with the larger goal. And then the other thing you can do is like give any instructions. So participation definitely helps with the first three, but instructions need to be really easy to follow and do and work for all kinds of people. So you can provide those instructions through signs, through physical handouts like a paper or a card or a sticker, or just an announcement. And on this video, they're like, okay, clap once if you can hear me, that kind of thing, right? Everybody clap your hands, they're doing it now. And so again, they have barely started dancing through my whole explanation, but everyone is completely engaged.
And so next we're going to talk about the middle. This is where you want to think about what has to happen and how to keep people engaged. This is totally up to you and what fits, but the think, feel, do that we talked about earlier, this can happen here where you're thinking of, you kind of are implementing what you want people to feel in this moment. We also talked about levels of engagement earlier. So things for different people who are up for different levels of activity should happen here as well. And remember how long we wanted to spend at a kid's birthday party at the beginning of the session? I think, Steve, we said max was an hour. It's kind of in between.
Yeah, nobody said more than an
minutes.
hour.
Yeah, so
Good rule of thumb for this.
yeah, so unless it's strategic, keep it short. Aileen, I saw your comment, 5 hours of hell. And so you may also want to work in a break, either downtime or just changing things up. This is also so people won't leave. And so in like, I don't know sports very well, but you know, there are some sports with like the intermission, the 7th inning stretch, and there's these fun games that happen that can be very like participatory for people to engage with.
Yeah, and just change things up a little bit. The main thing though is you want to have a plan, right? And like structure it and think about it. You want structure. Without structure, things go off the rails. Some of you may know this like famous feminist essay, it's totally worth reading, called The Tyranny of Structurelessness. And that one idea in it is that if there's a vacuum where it's like not really clear what's going on or what the agenda is, your event is going to be controlled by people who are the loudest and can stay the longest. So you don't want that to happen. You want to keep it on track. And I'll put a link to that. Oh, thanks, Margaret. Yeah, so have a structure.
Yeah, and so to talk about the end, decide how you end. Don't just let it happen. You really want to plan the ending, build up to it, and end on a high note. And remember, Martin Luther King's speech, I Have a Dream, was not the opening line.
Yeah, you're building up to that.
Mm-hmm. And if you really read that speech, I mean, it's clear in there. He was building up to it and then ends so strongly and beautifully with I Have a Dream. And then another thing, if you don't decide how it ends, it's quite possible the police do. So decide how you end. It's important to have an end time, announce it, and stick to it.
So how this actually works, maybe you have a start, middle, and end story. It might be good, it might be bad. I think Eileen was hinting at 5 hours of hell. But I heard a story about the New York No Kings marches a couple weeks ago. Start to finish, it was an hour. It went from 42nd to 26th, and people at the end at 26 were thanking everyone for coming and kind of sending them off.
And so I'll share here at the No Kings rally. I live in Florida. There was a start time that was posted online. When you got there, it was unclear of if it had started or not. There were so many people, and I commend everyone for being there, and the organizers. Like, thank y'all so much. It was amazing. Um, but the speakers kind of just started at some point. And when they were done talking, it wasn't clear, at least to me, was it ending? Do we do anything else? So it kind of just fizzled out. A lot of people are, just started walking away. And I think also maybe more than half of the folks there didn't even know the speakers were talking, and then didn't know that they had ended. So I actually myself, maybe this is just me, but I had been looking for an agenda online for it. Like I wanted to have this clear agenda so I knew what was going to happen and so that I could be there when the speakers started and things like that and kind of be there for the things that needed to go on.
Crystal, knowing you from working with you, I'm not surprised you look for an agenda. But yeah, when it ends and people are just sort of milling around, that's like an opportunity for the police to come and have an excuse to like clear out the place, right? And that's not what we want. So think about how you can move people out of that space. And so you can have a closing ceremony. You can kind of plan an after party where people can go and get to know each other, like they go to some local restaurants or bars, celebrate, regroup, and just think about how we can help move people off the street. So, okay, let's keep going. So I have like a little, I don't know, method, a structure to end things that I think might be helpful. One is you want to summarize what happened, why it was important, what got accomplished, thank people for their time, and then give them next steps that you want them to take and invite them to be more involved. What do they do when we go back to that think, feel, do? Like always remind people what the do is at the end. And then say goodbye. And so, like I said, I made this up. And you'll notice like the summarize, that, thank, and then next steps and goodbye, because I realized if you add the and then, it makes it easier to remember because you can end your event with a staying. So if that's helpful. And if for those of you like me who have like some anarchist tendencies, it might feel a little uncomfortable to guide people's experiences this way, but I'd really encourage you to take that kind of control. We all appreciate good leadership, and it's a way of honoring people's time and attention. Getting people to turn out to events is really hard, and you want them to come back, right? And so we know that you're making a big ask, and it's a gift when they respond. And so yeah, this is like a sign of respect. So I'm going to end this with a staying. Crystal?
So to summarize, here's what we did today. We went through think, feel, do, height, width, depth, start, middle, and end, and how you can implement all of these things into your own actions and events and make them even better.
We also want to say we really appreciate not only your time and attention today, but all the work that you're all going to do. Crystal made that list of issues. There's a ton of stuff that needs to get done, and we need your energy and enthusiasm, and we need your engaging, persuasive actions to keep and build that momentum that's growing, not only to keep the democracy that we have, but to grow it to a point it's never achieved before. And then our next steps. So before we say goodbye, you guys, if you don't mind writing one key takeaway from this session, and then what would be helpful for us is a thing that you want to learn next. And then, because we are working on future workshops that we're going to offer. So one key takeaway from this session and a thing you want to learn next while you're doing that. The Center for Artistic Activism is a 501(c) nonprofit organizations, and your donations really make public programs, like free public programs like this, possible. If this has been valuable to you, what would you pay for this if it was a class that you had to take or got to take, or a book that covered this, or a ticket price? If you saw Crystal and I at a bar after this, would you buy us a drink? Whatever that amount is meaningful, and you can donate at our site, c4aa.org/donate. It's quick, it's easy. We tried to make it as quick and easy as possible, and it's very helpful. Cool. So I'm looking at some of the takeaways here. Be intentional every step of the way to build a movement, not just an event. Accessibility and how to meet competing needs in a community is definitely interested in. Keep it simple. Have a clear goal and structure to drive people towards positive emotions that support change. Maria, that's wonderful. Thank you.
I like from Julie Chapman, love more examples of artwork. Definitely will buy you a cocktail or two. Thanks, Julie.
There's one here too. Protests are often perceived or received as negative emotion. So people outside of the protest don't listen, but joyful, exuberant performances are easier to receive and respond to. That's great. The danger of just raising awareness. Yay.
Nikita said, be intentional with every step of the way to build a movement, not just an event.
Yeah. So we did it. We're going to say goodbye now. And we notice we're going to end on time because we're walking the walk here. But we want you to look for this follow-up email. Crystal, do you want to explain that real quick?
Yeah, we're going to send out a follow-up email that will have lots of great things in it. So it will have links from today, the recording of this session, lots of different opportunities we have coming up at the Center for Artistic Activism. It will include some information about our next session, which we'll share with you in a moment. We have some free office hours that we do where you can meet with a member of the center and talk about, whatever you're working on, any questions you have, if you want some feedback. We have different ways that you can also work with us, and we can work with you and partner on different things. And probably so many more things will be in this email that hopefully you'll find helpful.
You know what I want to put in is like some excerpts from the chat because there's some really good stuff in here.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And we will pull some of it and put it in that follow-up.
Yeah, and I know that there might be some questions that we didn't get to answer. So we'll take a look at those and try to get those answered as well. One opportunity we have is this Innovation for Impact Leadership Intensive. So this is for people who are in leadership roles in advocacy organizations. So we have just launched this, and if you make sure you're signed up for a newsletter, you can get all the details for it and for all other programs like this. And I did put a link in the chat about it. And then also join our next session. That's what we just mentioned. So this was the Action Energizer Lab. Our next one is Audience Energizer Lab. It's going to really focus on how to reach the people you want to reach, maybe reach new folks, different things you can do to really tap into your audience. It's July 16th, 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, and the link is right there. For more, you can go ahead and register for that. If you'd like, please come if you enjoyed this one and share with your friends.
And we have this survey we'd love you guys to fill out. It'll help us with the next one. And we're going to give somebody who fills it out one of our very high quality C4AA tote bags, not the junk when you get to the store and you're like, oh, I brought this one and not the good one. This is the good one. And we'll send you an Unleashing Creative Campaigns toolkit too. So yeah, we're going to hang out for a couple minutes in the chat. Margaret verifying it is a really good one. But yeah, thank you so much. And we appreciate it. Well, maybe I'll put on some music.
Yeah, thank you all. It's so lovely to see so many of you here. And again, like all that you are doing, everything you're working on or want to work on, we're so appreciative of and commend you for it. So thank you for spending your time with us.
Okay. Bye.
Respect yourself, and they will respect